My girlfriend has been living a double life and now I'm friends with her husband. I was making coffee when a guy named Ethan called asking for Amy. I said she's getting ready for work. Who's this? He goes, her husband. I literally froze with the coffee pot in my hand. Sorry, what did you just say? Yeah, Amy Parker's husband. Who are you? I'm her boyfriend, I said slowly. There was this long, painful pause. Then he just hung up. My hands were shaking. I walked upstairs trying to keep my composure. Amy was doing her makeup in our bathroom mirror. I sat on the edge of our bed and just watched her for a second. She caught my eye in the reflection. Everything okay? She asked, applying mascara. I kept my voice steady. So I just talked to your husband. The mascara wand fell into the sink. Her face went completely white. She turned around slowly. What did he say? She whispered. Her voice was different, scared. I said he seemed pretty confused about me existing, about his wife having a boyfriend. She let out this nervous laugh and rolled her eyes. We divorced years ago. It's ancient history. Don't worry about it, but we've been together for 6 years. 6 years. And she never once mentioned being married. Not when we moved in together. Not when she met my parents. Nothing. And the way she stood there, arms crossed, defensive. I could see the guilt written all over her face. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. I'm going to be late for work. She kissed me on the cheek with this fake smile plastered on. The second I heard her car pull away, I got to work. I started in our bedroom, checked every drawer, every pocket of her clothes, nothing. Then I went to the closet, way in the back, behind her winter coats. I found 2 black suitcases I'd never seen before. They were new, expensive looking. Inside, one was a receipt from the Hilton in London dated 3 weeks ago. We've never been to London together. She told me she was at a conference in Manchester. I moved to the garage next, started emptying every box, every shelf. That's when I found them. A set of Ford keys sitting on top of an oil can on the highest shelf. We drive a Honda and a Toyota. I grabbed the keys and walked down to the public car park 2 blocks away. My heart was pounding. I pressed the unlock button. Lights flashed in the far corner. A silver Ford Fiesta. I got in and immediately smelled cigarette smoke. Amy told me she quit smoking 2 years ago. I'd believed her. I opened the glove compartment with shaking hands. Inside was a flip phone, a wallet, and red nail polish. The expensive kind Amy always bought. I opened the wallet. Credit card, debit card, train tickets to London, all in her name, but the address wasn't ours. It was somewhere in London I'd never heard of. Then I turned on the flip phone. The lock screen made my stomach drop. It was Amy and Ethan, his arm around her shoulders, both of them smiling at a beach somewhere. She was wearing a ring I'd never seen, and behind them was a little boy, maybe 4 or 5 years old, building a sandcastle. I sat there in that car for 20 minutes, just staring at the photo. Everything was clicking into place. Her random work trips to London once a month, the way she'd sometimes smell like smoke when she came home, how she never wanted to meet for lunch near her office. I drove back home, my mind completely numb. I spent the next few hours carefully putting everything back exactly where I found it, cleaned the house, then I packed my bags, just clothes, and my laptop. I left the flip phone, wallet, and nail polish lined up perfectly in the center of the kitchen table where she couldn't miss them. Once I was in my car, I called Ethan back. Hey, it's me, Amy's boyfriend. Or I guess I was her boyfriend. We need to talk. His voice cracked. Yeah, we do. The drive to London took 4 hours. When I got there, Ethan looked destroyed. He opened the door holding a whiskey glass. She took him, he said immediately. His eyes were bloodshot. My son, she picked him up from nursery this morning and never brought him back. He showed me his phone with text messages from the school. I felt my blood run cold. That little boy from the photo, when did you last speak to her? I asked. He checked his watch. 3 hours ago, she said she needed time to think. Then his phone buzzed. It was a photo of the boy at an airport check-in counter, and behind him stood Amy with a man I'd never seen before. I looked at Ethan, and he looked at me. And honestly, we both knew in that moment that this was way bigger than either of us realized. I mean, the photo alone was insane. This random guy standing there with Amy and the kid like they were some happy family. Ethan zoomed in on the guy's face. Who the hell is that? He muttered. I shook my head. No idea. Never seen him before in my life. Ethan started pacing around his living room, running his hands through his hair. This doesn't make sense. None of this makes any sense. He pulled out his laptop and opened Facebook. What's his face look like again? I described the guy from the photo, tall, dark hair, kind of clean-cut looking. Ethan typed frantically, scrolling through Amy's friends list. She has like 800 friends on here. This is going to take forever. But then I remembered something. Wait, check her tagged photos. If they're together, maybe someone tagged them. Ethan clicked over to her tagged photos, and there he was, 3rd photo down. The guy from the airport, arm around Amy at some restaurant. The caption said, "Congrats to the happy couple," posted 2 years ago. 2 years, while she was with both of us. Ethan clicked on the guy's profile. His name was David Mitchell. Relationship status, engaged to Amy Parker. Ethan's face went pale. Engaged? She's engaged to this guy too? I felt like I was going to throw up. How is this even possible? I asked. How does someone just live 3 separate lives? We spent the next hour going through everything. Ethan showed me their joint bank account on his phone. The balance showed £23,450 yesterday. Now it was completely empty. £47,000 just gone. She drained it, Ethan whispered. Every penny we saved for the house, for nursery fees, everything. I pulled out my phone and checked my own accounts. My savings account that had $18,000 last month now showed $3,200. My checking account was down by $11,000. She's been taking money from me too, I said. Small amounts over months. I never even noticed. Then I saw it. A transfer memo that said, International wire to Cayman account. Ethan, she's been moving money offshore. Ethan grabbed his whiskey bottle and poured himself another glass. I need to see her laptop. She left it here last time she visited. He went upstairs and came back with a silver MacBook. Do you know her password? I asked. He shook his head. She never let me use it. Said it was for work only. But I remembered watching her type her password once when we were on vacation. She thought I was asleep. I tried it. AMY20 negative on a -8. It worked. We opened her email first. There were dozens of flight confirmations. London to Dubai, departing tonight at 11:45 p.m., 3 tickets. Amy Parker, David Mitchell, and a child ticket under the name Oliver Mitchell. That's my son's name, Ethan said, his voice breaking. She's taking him to Dubai with this David guy. I kept scrolling through her files. That's when I found a folder labeled Documents 2024. Inside were scanned copies of 3 passports. Amy's had her real photo, but the name said Jessica Reynolds. David's passport looked normal, but the child's passport made my stomach turn. It was Ethan's son, Oliver, but the name on it said Oliver Reynolds and listed Amy and David as the parents. These are fake, I said. She's got fake passports for all 3 of them. There was another file labeled Accounts. I opened it. It was a spreadsheet, a detailed spreadsheet with names, dates, amounts. There were 8 men listed, including me and Ethan. Beside each name was a total amount. Mine said $29,400. Ethan said £47,000. The others ranged from $15,000 to $60,000. At the bottom, it showed a total, $287,000. She's been doing this to other guys, Ethan said, barely able to speak. For years. This is a whole operation. I clicked on another folder called Flight Info. There were multiple flight confirmations. The Dubai flight tonight at 11:45 p.m. Then a connecting flight from Dubai to Bali in 3 days, all under the fake passport names. They're running, I said. They planned this whole escape. Ethan looked at his watch. It's 7:30 now. If that flight leaves at 11:45, they're probably already at the airport. I grabbed my keys. Then we need to go. Now. The drive to Heathrow was a blur. Ethan called the police on the way, tried to explain the situation, but they said without proof of kidnapping, they couldn't stop someone from traveling with a child, especially if the child's mother was present. But she's not traveling as his mother, Ethan argued. She's using a fake passport. The kid's passport is fake too. The officer on the phone sounded skeptical. Sir, we'll need you to come to the station and file a report. We can't just storm an airport based on a phone call. Ethan hung up, frustrated. They're not going to help us. We got to Heathrow at 9:15 p.m. The place was packed. We checked the departure boards. Dubai, Emirates Flight 237, Gate C52, boarding at 11:15 p.m. We had 1 hour. Security wouldn't let us through without boarding passes, so we bought 2 tickets on the same flight, the cheapest seats available. Cost us £800 each, but we didn't care. We went through security, practically running. When we got to Gate C52, the boarding area was full of people. I scanned the crowd. Nothing. Ethan walked around, looking at every face. They're not here yet, he said. Maybe they're not coming. Maybe she changed her mind. But then I saw her, near the bathrooms, talking on her phone. Amy, wearing a dark wig and sunglasses. She looked completely different, but I knew it was her. Beside her was David, holding Oliver's hand. The little boy had a backpack shaped like a dinosaur. There, I said, pointing. Ethan saw them and his whole body tensed. That's my son. He started walking toward them. I followed. Amy saw us when we were about 10 feet away. Her face went from calm to sheer panic in half a second. She grabbed David's arm and said something. David turned and saw us approaching. Ethan, Amy said, her voice high and tight. What are you doing here? What am I doing here? Ethan's voice was loud enough that people nearby started looking. You took my son. You stole £47,000 from our account. You're using a fake passport. What am I doing here? Amy held up her hands. Okay, just calm down. Let's talk about this somewhere private. I stepped forward. No, we're talking right here, right now. David moved in front of Amy, like he was protecting her. Who the hell are you? He asked me. I'm her boyfriend, I said. Or I was. For 6 years. Who are you? David blinked. I'm her fiancé. We've been together for 3 years. Amy looked like she might pass out. Oliver was looking up at all of us, confused and scared. Ethan knelt down in front of his son. "Hey, buddy, it's Dad. Remember? We're going to go home now, okay?" Oliver looked at Amy. "Mummy said we're going on a big airplane to the beach." Amy pulled Oliver back. "You can't just take him, Ethan. I have every right to travel with my own son." "With fake passports?" I said, pulling out my phone. "I have photos of the fake passports on her laptop. Jessica Reynolds. Ring a bell?" David's face changed. He looked at Amy. "What's he talking about? Fake passports?" Amy's eyes darted between all of us. "They're lying. They're trying to ruin our trip." But David wasn't stupid. You could see it on his face, the doubt creeping in. "Amy, what the hell is going on?" She didn't answer. Instead, she tried to walk away, pulling Oliver with her. Ethan grabbed her arm. "You're not taking him anywhere." That's when David lunged at Ethan. He shoved him hard, and Ethan stumbled back. People around us started yelling. Security came running over. "Everyone needs to calm down right now," a security guard shouted. Amy used the chaos to try to slip away, but I blocked her path. "Move," she hissed at me. "You don't understand. I need to get on that flight." "Why? What's in Dubai? Or is it Bali? Or is there a fourth guy waiting there too?" Her face crumbled. She knew I had her laptop. She knew I'd seen everything. David was being held back by security now, shouting, "Someone tell me what the hell is happening." I looked at him. "You want to know? Amy's married. To Ethan. And she's been my girlfriend for 6 years, and apparently she's engaged to you. She's been scamming all of us." David stopped struggling. He looked at Amy. "Is that true?" Amy opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Then, finally, she whispered, "It's complicated." "Complicated?" Ethan shouted. "You stole from us. You lied to us. You were going to disappear with my son and fake passports." Security called for backup, and within minutes, there were 6 officers surrounding us. They separated us into different areas. They took Amy and David to one side, me and Ethan to another, and Oliver was taken to a family room with a social worker. One of the officers asked for our IDs and started taking statements. I showed them the photos from Amy's laptop on my phone, the fake passports, the spreadsheet, the flight confirmations, everything. The officer's expression changed as he scrolled through. This is serious. We need to contact our fraud unit." Another officer went to talk to Amy. I watched from where I was sitting. I could see her trying to explain, gesturing frantically, but the officer's face remained stern. David looked destroyed, sitting with his head in his hands. After about 20 minutes, they brought Amy over to where Ethan and I were. The officer stood between us. "Miss Parker, these gentlemen have shown us some concerning documents. Can you explain the fake passports?" Amy bit her lip. She looked at the ground. "Okay," she said quietly. "Okay, I'll tell you the truth." She took a breath. "David isn't just some guy. He's my first husband. From 8 years ago." Ethan and I both stared. "Everyone thought he died in a car accident, but he didn't. We faked his death. We've been working together this whole time." My mind was racing. Working together to do what? Amy wouldn't look at me. To make money. We target wealthy men. I marry them or date them. We take what we can, and then we move on. It's been going on for almost a decade. "And the boy?" Ethan demanded. "Is he even yours?" Amy shook her head. "He's not mine biologically. We took him from another situation, one of our previous targets. His real father doesn't even know where he is. We've been using him as part of the cover story, to make everything look more legitimate." I felt sick. This woman I'd loved, trusted, built a life with, was a complete stranger. Worse than a stranger, a con artist, a kidnapper. The officer immediately radioed for more units. "Ma'am, you need to come with us." "You too, sir," he said to David. David stood up slowly. He looked at Amy. "You said we were done after this one. You said Dubai was the end game, and we'd finally settle down." Amy didn't respond. They put them both in handcuffs. As they led Amy away, she glanced back at me. "I did love you," she said. "For what it's worth, parts of it were real. I didn't say anything. What could I say?" They took me and Ethan to a private office to finish our statements. The officer handling our case was Detective Harrison. "We're going to need copies of all the evidence you found," she said. "The laptop, the documents, bank records, everything." I nodded. "I have most of it on my phone. The laptop's at Ethan's place." Ethan was shaking. "What happens to Oliver now? He's not their kid. He's not my kid. Where does he go?" Detective Harrison sighed. "We'll contact social services. They'll try to locate his biological parents. If that's not possible, he'll go into care until this is sorted out." Ethan looked devastated. "I've been raising him for 2 years. As far as he knows, I'm his dad." "I understand," Harrison said gently. "But legally, we have a very complicated situation here." She paused. "However, the boy knows you. That'll be taken into account." We spent the next 3 hours at the airport police station, going through everything. They seized Amy's laptop remotely from Ethan's house. They contacted Interpol because of the international scope of the fraud. They started tracking down the other men on Amy's spreadsheet. It was past 2 a.m. when they finally let us leave. Ethan and I walked out into the cold night air. We stood there in the parking lot, exhausted, not really knowing what to say. "I can't believe this," Ethan finally said. 6 years of my life, the last 2 thinking I was a father. All of it was fake. "I know," I said. 6 years for me too. I thought I knew her. I thought we had a future." Ethan looked at me. "We should have seen the signs, right? There had to be signs." I thought about it. There were. Small things. The way she was secretive about her phone, how she'd disappear for hours sometimes, the smoking, the trips. But I trusted her. I didn't want to believe she'd lie. Ethan nodded. "Same. I ignored every red flag because I loved her, or I thought I did. Can you even love someone who was never real?" We stood there in silence for a while. Then Ethan said, "Thanks for coming here tonight, for backing me up. I don't think I could have faced this alone." "Yeah," I said. "Same to you." We exchanged numbers and promised to stay in touch as the legal stuff unfolded. On the drive home, I couldn't stop replaying everything in my head. The phone call this morning felt like it was a lifetime ago. I got back to my place around 4 a.m., completely drained. I collapsed on my couch and just sat there in the dark. My phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "You ruined everything. I'll make you regret this." I knew it was Amy. She must have gotten a phone call somehow. I screenshot the text and forwarded it to Detective Harrison. Within minutes, she replied, "Noted. Do not respond. If she contacts you again, let us know immediately." I tried to sleep but couldn't. My brain wouldn't shut off. Around 6 a.m. my phone rang. It was Ethan. "Hey, you awake?" he asked. "Yeah, couldn't sleep." "Me neither. Listen, I've been thinking. We need to get ahead of this. The story's going to come out. The media will be all over it once they find out about the fake passports and the kid." He was right. This was going to be huge. "What do you suggest?" I asked. "We control the narrative," Ethan said. "We put out a statement together. Explain what happened from our side before she can twist it." I agreed. We spent the next hour on the phone drafting a statement. We kept it factual, just the timeline of events, the discovery of the deception, and the airport confrontation. We didn't trash Amy. We didn't speculate. We just laid out what happened. By 9 a.m., we'd posted it on social media. Within an hour, it had thousands of shares. People were messaging us, offering support, sharing their own stories of being scammed. The comments were overwhelming. But then around noon, things took a turn. Someone had found Amy's social media and started posting screenshots. Photos of her with different men, all posted on different accounts. Photos at weddings, engagements, family gatherings, all with different partners. The internet detectives started piecing together her entire operation. They found the other men from the spreadsheet. One guy came forward and said Amy had taken £60,000 from him before disappearing. Another said she'd claimed to be pregnant with his child and asked for money for medical bills. The stories kept coming. 8 men total, just like the spreadsheet said. Some had reported her to police years ago, but she'd always managed to slip away, change her name, move to a new city. By evening, the story had hit the major news outlets. "Woman arrested at Heathrow for elaborate marriage scam" was the headline on BBC. The article detailed the fake passports, the kidnapped child, the offshore accounts. Amy's photo was everywhere, and David's too. Turns out David, whose real name was actually Ryan Foster, had a criminal record: fraud, identity theft, forgery. He'd been wanted in 3 countries. They'd been partners in crime for over a decade. Just like Amy said, the next few days were a blur of police interviews, meetings with fraud investigators, and media requests. Ethan and I declined all interview requests. We just wanted this to be over, but the investigation kept growing. Interpol got involved because of the international money transfers. The FBI reached out because some of Amy's victims were American. It was massive. A week after the airport incident, Detective Harrison called me. "We've recovered most of the money," she said. "The offshore accounts have been frozen, and we're in the process of returning funds to the victims." "How much was there?" I asked. "Just over $300,000 total. She hadn't spent much of it yet, which is lucky for you all." She paused. "There's something else. We found communications between Amy and a man in Paris. It looks like she was setting up her next target. You were right at the airport when you confronted David. She was planning to disappear on both of you and move on to this Paris guy." My stomach turned. "So we were just marks. That's all we ever were." "I'm sorry," Harrison said. "I know that's not easy to hear." A few days later, Ethan called me. The bank released the funds. I got the £47,000 back. "That's good," I said. "I'm still waiting on mine." "Listen," Ethan said. "I know this is weird, but do you want to meet up, grab a drink or something? I feel like you're the only person who actually understands what I'm going through." I thought about it. It was weird. Bonding with your girlfriend's other boyfriend/husband. But he was right. No one else could really get it. "Yeah, okay, let's do it." We met at a pub in central London. It was strange at first, sitting across from each other, both of us victims of the same woman. But after a couple of drinks, we started talking, really talking, about the red flags we missed, the lies we believed, the life we thought we had. We was going to propose, Ethan admitted. I had a ring picked out and everything. Was going to do it on Oliver's 3rd birthday next month. I was saving for a house, I said. Thought we'd start trying for kids soon. She kept saying she wanted to wait until we had more saved up. Now I know why. Ethan laughed bitterly. She told me the same thing. Always needed more money first. We talked for hours about how we were going to move forward, how to trust again, how to even process something like this. By the end of the night, something strange had happened. We'd become friends, actual friends, not just two guys bonded by trauma, but people who genuinely liked each other. This is so messed up, Ethan said, shaking his head. I'm friends with my wife's boyfriend. Ex-wife, I corrected, and ex-boyfriend. We both laughed. It felt good to laugh. 2 weeks later, I got a call from Detective Harrison again. Amy's pleading guilty, she said, to fraud, bigamy, kidnapping, and identity theft. She's looking at 15 to 20 years. David, or Ryan, is looking at similar time. What about the boy? Oliver? I asked. Harrison's voice softened. We found his biological father. He lives in Bristol. Had no idea his ex-girlfriend had taken their son 5 years ago. He thought she'd moved to Scotland with the boy and just cut contact. He's getting custody. And Ethan? I asked. What happens with him? Legally, he has no rights. But the father, his name is Greg, he's agreed to let Ethan visit if he wants. He understands Oliver knows Ethan as a father figure. I passed the message to Ethan. He broke down crying on the phone. I never thought I'd see him again, he said. The following month, Amy's employer contacted both Ethan and me. Turns out she'd been embezzling from client accounts at the financial firm. Another £200,000 stolen. The firm was facing a massive scandal. They offered us settlements to keep quiet about the fact that they'd hired a con artist without doing a proper background check. Ethan and I talked about it and decided to take the settlements. We weren't interested in revenge. We just wanted to move on. I used the money to buy a small flat, start fresh somewhere new. Ethan bought a house closer to Bristol so he could be near Oliver. We stayed in touch, texting every few days, meeting up once a month for a pint. One night, about 3 months after everything happened, my phone buzzed while I was watching TV. It was Ethan. Mate, you need to see this. He sent me a link to Amy's Instagram. It had been hacked. Someone had posted all the evidence, the fake passports, the spreadsheet, screenshots of the text messages from Amy's phone that the police had recovered. Everything. The posts were going viral. Millions of views. Who did this? I texted back. No idea, but it's everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Everyone's seeing who she really is. I scrolled through the comments. Thousands of people calling her out, warning others, sharing the story. Her reputation was annihilated. There was no coming back from this. Even after she got out of prison, this would follow her forever. A few days later, Ethan and I met up again. I did something, he said, looking nervous. What? He pulled out his phone. I got access to her offshore accounts. Well, not exactly. David gave me the passwords. What? When? He contacted me from prison. Said he wanted revenge on Amy because she was planning to screw him over too. He gave me everything. All the account details, passwords, transfer codes. I stared at him. And what did you do? Ethan smiled. We emptied them. Every single account. Transferred it back to us and the other victims. She has nothing left. I couldn't believe it. Ethan, that's illegal? Maybe, but she stole from us first, and David helped, so technically it's his money too. He signed off on it. I didn't know whether to be impressed or worried. How much was there? Another £100,000 she'd hidden, split it between the 8 of us. You've got £12,500 coming your way. My phone buzzed. A notification from my bank. £12,500 deposited. I looked at Ethan. You're insane, he shrugged. She deserved it, and now she's got nothing. No money, no freedom, no reputation, just like she left us with nothing. I couldn't argue with that. The next week, I got a message from an unknown number again. I know what you did. You took everything from me. I'll get out eventually, and when I do, I'm coming for both of you. I showed it to Ethan. She's still threatening us from prison? He shook his head. Let her. What's she going to do? She's locked up for the next 15 years, minimum. By the time she gets out, we'll be long gone. But I wasn't so sure. People like Amy, they don't just give up. They don't just accept defeat. I forwarded the message to Detective Harrison. We'll add it to her file, she said. Threatening witnesses from prison isn't going to help her case. The threats kept coming, one every few days. You think you've won, but you haven't. I'll destroy you both. Everything you care about, I'll take it. Ethan and I decided we needed to do something final, something that would end this for good. We need to make sure everyone knows, Ethan said. Not just our friends and family, everyone. So we did something bold. We posted a joint statement online, on every platform we could find. We detailed the entire scam with evidence, named Amy and David, included screenshots of the fake passports, the spreadsheet, the offshore accounts, Amy's confession at the airport, everything. We tagged news outlets, fraud awareness groups, victim support organizations. Within 24 hours, it had millions of views. People were reposting it, adding their own commentary, warning others. Amy's face was everywhere, labeled as a con artist, a fraud, a kidnapper. Her parents reached out to us. They were devastated. We had no idea, her mother said on the phone, crying. We thought she was a good person. We paid for David's funeral 8 years ago. We mourned him. And all this time they were scamming people together. I felt bad for them. They were victims too, in a way. Did you know about Oliver? I asked. Her mother's voice broke. We thought he was our grandson. Amy told us she'd had him with Ethan. We loved that little boy. And now we find out he was kidnapped from someone else? They took custody of Oliver temporarily while Greg, the biological father, sorted out his living situation. They met with Greg and Ethan, worked out a plan where Oliver could transition slowly back to his real dad while maintaining contact with the only family he'd known. It was messy, complicated, but everyone was trying to do right by the kid. A month later, Ethan and I were at a pub, celebrating the fact that all the legal stuff was finally wrapping up. The other victims had been contacted and compensated, the police had everything they needed, and Amy and David were both sentenced. We were finally free of it. Can I ask you something? Ethan said, setting down his beer. Yeah, what? Do you ever wonder if any of it was real? Like, did she ever actually feel anything for us? Or was it all just an act? I thought about that a lot. I don't know. Maybe parts of it were real, or maybe she's just that good at lying. Either way, it doesn't matter anymore. Ethan nodded. You're right. We're better off. We clinked our glasses together. Just as we were about to leave, Ethan's phone buzzed. It was a message from the prison. Amy had tried to call him. He declined it. She's not giving up, he said. She keeps trying to contact me. Block the number, I suggested. I did. She finds new ways. It was unsettling, but we dealt with worse. We walked out of the pub into the cool night air. You know what's funny? I said. In a messed up way, she brought us together. If she hadn't been such a manipulative psychopath, we never would have become friends. Ethan laughed. Yeah, I guess that's one silver lining. We said our goodbyes and headed home. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of notifications. The story had hit mainstream news again. Con artist victims strike back. How two men exposed a £300,000 scam. The article detailed everything, from the airport confrontation to the recovery of the funds to Amy's sentencing. Ethan and I were quoted extensively, though we'd never actually done an interview. They'd pulled everything from our social media posts. My phone rang. It was a producer from a documentary series. We'd like to feature your story, she said. It's a show about financial scams and how people recover from them. Ethan and I talked it over and agreed. If our story could help even one person avoid getting scammed, it was worth it. We filmed the documentary over the next few weeks. It was strange, reliving everything on camera, but also cathartic. Telling the story start to finish, seeing it all laid out, it helped us process it. The documentary aired 3 months later. It got massive viewership. Thousands of people reached out, sharing their own stories of being scammed, thanking us for speaking up. It felt good, turning something so horrible into something that could help others. A year after everything happened, I was in a new relationship. Someone completely different from Amy. Someone honest and kind and real. Ethan had met someone too, a woman who worked at Oliver's school. We'd both moved on, built new lives, healed. We still met up regularly, our weird friendship stronger than ever. One night, we were having dinner at my place when Ethan's phone rang. It was Greg, Oliver's dad. Hey, is everything okay? Ethan asked, putting it on speaker. Yeah, everything's fine. Oliver wanted to talk to you. There was a shuffle, then a small voice. Ethan, hey buddy, how are you? Good. I start year 1 next week. I'm nervous. Ethan smiled. You'll do great. You're a smart kid. Will you come to my birthday party next month? Dad said I could invite you. Of course. I wouldn't miss it. After the call ended, Ethan wiped his eyes. I never thought I'd get to be part of his life again. You're a good guy, I said. Greg sees that. Oliver sees that. Ethan nodded. We've come a long way, haven't we? Yeah, we have. 2 years after the airport, Ethan called me with news. Amy's trying to appeal her sentence. Says she was coerced by David. That she was a victim too. I scoffed. That's ridiculous. We saw the spreadsheet. We heard her confession. I know, but her lawyer's arguing she was manipulated into it. They're trying to reduce her sentence. The appeal went to court. Ethan and I both had to testify again. It was exhausting, dragging everything back up. But in the end, the judge denied the appeal. Amy's sentence stood. 15 years. No reduction. We left the courthouse feeling relieved. That's it then, Ethan said. It's finally over. Yeah, I agreed. Finally. But life has a way of throwing curveballs. 6 months later, I got a message from David, or Ryan, whatever his real name was. I need to tell you something, the message read. Amy was planning to leave me too. She had a 4th guy. in Paris. She was going to take all the money and disappear on everyone, including me. I was just another mark. I showed the message to Ethan. Why is he telling us this now? Ethan wondered. Revenge, maybe? He's locked up because of her. Maybe he wants us to know she was going to screw him over too. Ryan sent another message. I can give you access to one more account. She doesn't know I know about it. It's got another 50,000 pounds in it. She was saving it for her escape plan with the Paris guy. Take it, split it. She deserves to have nothing. Ethan and I met up to discuss it. Is this a trap? I asked. I don't know, but he gave us the passwords before and they worked. Ethan pulled out his laptop. Let's just see if it's real. He entered the account information Ryan had sent. It was real. An account in the Cayman Islands with 52,000 pounds in it. Holy shit, I muttered. He wasn't lying. So what do we do? Ethan asked. Do we take it? I thought about it. We'd already gotten our money back. This felt different, like we'd be stealing. But then again, Amy had stolen from so many people, and she was planning to scam even more. Yeah, I decided. We take it, and we split it with the other victims. Everyone gets a little more. We transferred the money out, divided it equally, and sent it to the other 6 men Amy had scammed. They were shocked and grateful. One guy said he'd lost his house because of Amy and the extra money helped him get back on his feet. It felt good, getting some kind of justice. A few weeks later, news broke that Amy had tried to escape from prison. She'd convinced another inmate to help her, promised them money on the outside. But the plan fell apart, and she was caught. They added another 5 years to her sentence. She just can't help herself, can she? Ethan said when he heard, some people never learn. 3 years after everything started, I was living a completely different life. New job, new city, new relationship that was healthy and real. Ethan was thriving too, engaged to his girlfriend, and still actively involved in Oliver's life as a sort of uncle figure. We'd both moved on, truly moved on. But occasionally we'd get reminders. A message from someone who'd seen the documentary, a news article about prison scams that mentioned Amy's case, a random memory that popped up. One day, I got a letter. It was from Amy, sent from prison. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity got the better of me. I know you probably hate me, the letter began, and you have every right to. What I did was horrible, and I've had a lot of time to think about it. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that parts of it were real for me. I did care about you. Maybe not in the way you deserved, but in the only way I knew how. I'm sorry for the pain I caused. I hope you found happiness, Amy. I read the letter twice, then put it in a drawer. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. A few months later, I was out for dinner with Ethan and his fiancée when my phone buzzed. It was a news alert. David Ryan Foster found dead in prison. Apparent suicide. I showed it to Ethan. He read it and sighed. Guess the guilt caught up with him. Or he couldn't handle being locked up for the next decade. Either way, David was gone. One less piece of that nightmare in the world. 4 years after the airport, I ran into one of the other victims at a coffee shop. His name was James, and he'd lost 30,000 pounds to Amy. I never thought I'd see you in person, he said, shaking my hand. I watched the documentary. It helped me process everything. We sat and talked for a while. He'd rebuilt his life too, started a new business, got married. We all got out, didn't we? He said. Could have been so much worse. Yeah, I agreed. Could have been. 5 years later, Ethan's son was born. He named him Oliver, after the boy he'd raised for 2 years. It felt right, Ethan explained when I visited them in the hospital. That kid changed my life. Even if it was all based on a lie, I still loved him, and I want to honor that. I held baby Oliver, this tiny, perfect thing, and thought about how life moves in strange circles. From devastation comes healing. From pain comes growth. From lies comes truth. You're going to be a great dad, I told Ethan. For real this time, he smiled. Yeah, for real. 6 years after everything, I got married. Ethan was my best man. In his speech, he joked about how we met, how we bonded over both dating the same woman, how we'd turned a nightmare into a genuine friendship. Everyone laughed. It was funny now in a dark way. The kind of story you tell at parties that makes people's jaws drop. Wait, you're friends with your ex's husband? Yeah, long story. 7 years later, Amy was released early for good behavior. I found out through a Google alert I'd set up years ago and never removed. She served 12 years of her 15-year sentence. Ethan called me immediately. Did you see? Yeah, I saw. Do you think she'll try to contact us? I doubted it. What would be the point? She has no money, no reputation, no life to come back to. Everyone knows who she is. But a week later, both Ethan and I got friend requests on Facebook from a profile named Jessica Reynolds. The profile picture was Amy, but older, grayer, thinner. We both blocked it immediately. She tried Instagram next, then Twitter, then LinkedIn. We blocked her everywhere. She was persistent. I'd give her that. Then one day, I was grocery shopping and I saw her, Amy, in the cereal aisle, looking at boxes like a normal person. She looked different, older, worn down by prison and life. She saw me at the same time I saw her. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then she walked over. "Hey," she said quietly. I didn't respond. "I know you don't want to talk to me. I wanted to say I'm sorry, face to face, for everything." I looked at her. This woman who destroyed my life and Ethan's life and 8 other men's lives. "I don't care," I said. "I really don't. You're nothing to me." Her eyes filled with tears. "I understand. I just needed you to know that I'm different now. Prison changed me. I'm trying to be better." "Good for you," I said, and walked away. I didn't look back. I texted Ethan. "Just ran into Amy at the store." His response was immediate. "Blocked and ignored? Yep, good. That's all she deserves." I agreed. That night I told my wife about it. She'd heard the whole story, of course, but this was different. "How did it feel seeing her again?" she asked. "Nothing," I said honestly. "I felt nothing. She's just a stranger now." And that was the truth. Amy had become a character in a story I told, not a person who held any power over me anymore. The final time I heard about Amy was a year later. She'd been arrested again, this time for identity theft. Apparently, she'd tried to run the same scam with a new target. But the guy Googled her name, found all the articles and the documentary, and immediately reported her to the police. She was back in prison within months of getting out. "Some people never change," Ethan said when I told him. "Guess not."